Hello, and welcome to this live interview series showcasing supplier diversity here. I'm your host, Sandra D'Souza, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Elect. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to have a conversation with Danielle Fairhurst. She's here as the founder for Plum Solutions, and she's going to talk about her journey as a business owner with us. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today, Danielle.
You're welcome. It's lovely to see you, Sandra.
Lovely to see you too. So, as those who have been watching the live series, the interview series, I don't normally do an intro. I don't like reading out bios. I actually think it's always good to hear from the actual persons in terms of talking about the background. So, just to start off with, just tell us, Danielle, about your business, Plum Solutions, and what does it offer?
Yeah, I am a financial modelling specialist. So I go into organisations and I help them with their finance team, really, to use Excel for building financial models. So anybody who is needing to build a model to help with their projections or with their cash flow, that sort of thing. So I either build a model for them or I will teach their staff how to build a financial model. So it's really just around that skill set of financial modeling.
That's great, and it's a skill set that many do require, especially in a corporate environment, because of the complexity of the work that they do. Would that be right?
Yes, I think it's something that perhaps is a very small part of a lot of people's jobs. They might need to, the majority of their job will be doing something else, perhaps in finance or relating to finance. And then every now and then their boss will say, okay, we just need to knock up a financial model. And they're like, oh, okay. And they then have to build something from scratch. And most of it is just common sense, using Excel to sort of, say, this multiplied by this gives you this, that's fairly sort of straightforward. But when it starts getting complicated and when you have really important decisions that are based on the financial model, the stakes start getting really high. And that's where I come in. So I help people to just be really confident around their skills of being able to build a financial model, or sometimes they say, you know what, can you just build it for us?
Wow. I do know how important that skill is, because the financial modeling allows you that flexibility of having a very customized, model to generate the type of data to make informed decisions. So like you said, the stakes are quite high and it's important to get it right. And with Excel being a powerful tool, if you don't set it up properly, being a former accountant, so that's why I know about this, that I have seen where, misformula or especially adjusting the model, then not realizing the flow-on effect and wrong decisions have been made, and quite damaging. I've seen, actually, not mine, luckily, but certainly with others.
Everybody's got a story about this horrendous mistake. And it's absolutely terrifying thinking about these multi-million-dollar decisions that are being based on the output of your model. It's really quite scary.
It is. So that's why I do know the importance of getting it right and having it structured right. And I wish I had somebody like you who taught me, because I had to build it over years of experience and errors, and not that big errors, but certainly, there was it was challenging. So I guess.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go on. Sorry, you were going to finish off.
Apparently, something like 98% of Excel models contain errors. Isn't that terrifying?
It is.
Most of the time, they're really small, not very significant errors, but just the volume of errors in models is really quite a scary thing.
It is, and I believe that. I actually believe that. So I guess this is actually quite an interesting field that you're on. And as part of, I guess, talking about supplier diversity, it's a women-owned, women-led business. Could you share with us your personal journey of how you started the business, what led you onto this path, and you've continued with it?
I know. I've been doing it for years. I have known you for years, because we did.
I know.
at Macquarie.
That's right.
And we've been in touch, all of that time. And somebody recently put us in touch with each other, didn't they? And said, "Oh,
That's right.
fabulous work here." And I'm like, I know, I've known her for years. And likewise.
It is. It is, I know. I mean, and it's just, I mean, I don't want to say it shows our age, but it seems like only just yesterday we were finishing off our MBA, but it's many, many moons ago. So was it around that time that you started your business, or?
Yeah, and I think doing the MBA was kind of helped me to really crystallize where I wanted to go, and also to give me confidence, I suppose, in my career, I guess. And at that time, whilst I was doing my MBA, I had my first child, and he has just left school. So that shows how I know. I know. Really, really time ago. Yeah. So I had 2 babies whilst doing my MBA. And then when I went back to my sort of corporate career, so I was a financial analyst working in an organisation, and I went back afterwards and just found that I really wanted to sort of have a bit more flexibility around my job, and I was working. I was not prepared to put the hours in, I suppose, than what I was doing before, but I just absolutely loved my career. I loved what I did. But I just wasn't prepared to do the hours that I was doing before, and I wanted to sort of have a bit more flexibility. And I'd always wanted to start a business, and that was really the catalyst that got me started doing it. And I started consulting, so I'd go into organisations and build financial models for them. And there's quite a demand for that. It is quite a good skill to have, and it's a sort of don't need all the time, so it actually works quite well as a consultant. So people will kind of just get you in when they have a particular piece of work that they want you to do, and then I started training. So I was actually did some tutoring as in management accounting at Sydney University. That was when I first sort of, and I was very pregnant, and I was sort of lumbering about. I was lumbered to my tutorials and back. And I really got into training, and I really enjoyed it then. I think I was probably one of the first people in Sydney to start a course, or a professional course, called financial modelling. And there's loads of them around nowadays. But yeah, so I've been doing it for a while.
That's great, because I mean, you started something that was really needed, and I guess that wasn't something that was a traditional path of numbers or the financial stuff, but yet it is actually the basis of a lot of models, and that you need the skill set with. So from I guess I love the story that you wanted the flexibility, and you love your career, but the business is also in a way is connecting your career to the corporate environment where like you said, they consulted with you to get you to do the models, and then you have the training process. So with if we could talk a little bit more about the training, over the years, I guess, what have you learned, like, from people in terms of who benefit most in what type of roles from your training?
Yeah, I found people that would come on the training would have quite varied backgrounds, but generally I find the majority of them would be sort of mid-level finance staff. I find that often it would be relatively junior people would need to have some financial modelling skills, and it's often seen as a fairly junior thing to do, but we do find that people with really good modelling skills do get increase and get promoted in their career. So we find people at all levels, generally to be sort of those mid-level finance background people. A lot of people with accounting backgrounds, although not necessarily. Sometimes business owners, well, they want to do their own kind of thing, or they might be a consultant or somebody like that. So it would be, lots of different people, but the thing they've got in common is that they need to use Excel for the purpose of they're working in finance in some kind of way. That's generally who it's for. And after I've been doing it for a couple of years, I started getting invitations from sort of conference organisers overseas who were running sort of these 3-day events or 5-day events. And the place that I used to go to most frequently was in the Middle East, and I'd go to Dubai quite often, and I was probably going maybe 4 or 5 times a year for quite a long time, and that's been fantastic.
Wow.
And then I'd often go to Asia, Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, probably the places that I'd go to most frequently. And I've been to some incredible places. It's amazing. And they would sort of put on an event where there'd be sort of like a whole team of, it'd either be in-house at a company, so they would want their whole team to get trained in the same way, or it would be a public course. So there'd be sort of people that would, particularly in Dubai, it would be people that would come from all over the Middle East, and they'd come to Dubai for, a bit of fun and getting together in a nice hotel.
That's amazing.
Really great week together. And we do a reasonably short day as well, so it was actually quite fun. And I used to quite often, bring a friend with me, or my sister came, my mum came once.
Make a little bit of a holiday type of thing.
And loads of friends that would come with me, like girlfriends come, and then we'd spend a week together in a beautiful 5-star hotel, and I do sort of half a day of work every day, and it would be really a really fantastic experience. And I got to meet some really fabulous people, and to really get to learn about how people do business in these other countries. And the thing that always absolutely fascinated me was that Excel, and that this skill of financial modeling is something that is applicable all over the world. You could go to anywhere and find that there are people who are using Excel. They're using the same formulas. They've got the same struggles. They're struggling with errors, or with too much data, or with Excel crashing and that sort of thing. And they're still having the same issues that we have back here in Sydney. So I found that absolutely fascinating.
Amazing?
I know. Actually,
that's amazing.
I ran a course this morning, and it was part of the Global Excel Summit, which was a fabulous virtual summit. It was supposed to be in person in London, which so it ended up being a virtual conference, and we ran some master classes which finished this morning. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. and we did 3.5 hours yesterday and 3.5 hours today. And we had people from all over. We had people from Iceland and lots of, like, all over Europe, Ireland, and where else do we have? Poland and Hungary and Mexico, and quite a few from the US. And it was funny, the people that were and Saudi as well. I got to go to Saudi once also, which was really fun.
Wow.
But they're sharing their screens. It's all Excel, which is very familiar, but it's all in different languages. And we were trying to help each other this morning. And one person had it in Polish, and the other person had it in Hungarian, and we all had different versions of the language. And but the instructions are all exactly the same. It's just a translation.
But that's amazing. It's like you've got a global language which is the Excel models. That how you communicate with everybody. And I never thought of it that way, but Excel itself, it is the, I guess, and the whole maths and formulas. It is one language across all, and how you describe the labels around it is what are different. That you have to use the spoken language, I guess, to decipher. That's really fascinating. I was going to ask you, actually, because you've done quite a bit of training, that with COVID, what was the type of impact? But then you just said you've just delivered on a global summit as well. So how much of a difference has it made between the in-person workshops to a virtual one?
Huge. Yeah, it was a bit scary, because I had my ticket to London to go to this conference, and I was so excited. I was really looking forward to it. My daughter was going to come with me, and we were going to stop in LA on the way over. And it was supposed to be at the beginning of April. I think we were supposed to go last year. And another conference in Azerbaijan, which I was this close to booking a ticket for. And also we had another event, like a workshop event in the Caribbean, which was also, I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I will be too.
I got to go to Aruba. No, it wasn't last year now, it was the year before. So I've been to some amazing places with it, but I was really looking forward to Curacao. And we ended up running that. Finally, we decided to do that virtually as well because our borders have been closed for so long.
That's right.
And that was. But that was actually started at 2:30 in the morning, and we did a full.
No.
We did a full 8-hour day. So we did that online.
That's tough.
We did it over Zoom. Yeah. So at first it was pretty scary because I had all of these trips organized, and if I don't get on a plane, I don't get paid generally. Like the majority of my work was traveling, and I didn't actually do that much work in Sydney. So that has a bit of a gap in my calendar at first, and I just sort of gradually, I think it's become more accepted to do everything online. I already had a lot of online training, so that was pre-recorded training so that people could sign up and do it in their own time. And then we started doing them via Zoom that way instead, which, it's just a little bit different. It's just very different, just not being able to see people's screens as easily, not being able to see their reactions as easily as well. It can be
but I guess you have to adapt, and you still can train people through the virtual environment, even though it's different. I mean, people can still be trained in that environment.
And I think, but we do a lot of breakout rooms and a lot of interactivity because, I mean, there's so much content out there online. You could just watch a YouTube video, like what is the point of coming on online training at that time? Why not just watch videos? So we kind of need to make it engaging and get people to actually learn from each other, and that's far more interesting than just watching a video or reading a book.
That's true.
Speaking of books,
I
got my
wow.
book.
Oh, cool.
So I've written a couple of books on that. Was the first
Do you want to
one.
put it in the middle, I guess, just so we can see it clearly? So you got one book here. Let me just read it out. Using Excel for Business and Financial Modeling. And there's the author, and it's by Wiley. So anybody who wants to buy that. And what's your second one?
Yeah, and then I discovered that nobody had written Financial Modeling for Dummies. And so I wrote that. Yeah, so that came out in 2017. So we use that as a resource when I used to do in-person training. You can see all the books behind me. My suitcase and actually each person would get one of those. But now either we post it to them or they get it as an ebook, as it still supplements the training as well.
And this pretty much, you've got your books and you've got their training, you've got your consultation, and the fact that you've been asked to go around the world to teach as well. Pretty much that you're the global thought leader in financial modeling. Would that be right?
Oh, there's lots of people that
I think you're being modest.
Quite a big field, and one of the things that there's often these financial modeling competitions. It's kind of like we're a fairly competitive bunch, and a few years ago this model off competition came out, which was very exciting, and there's a lot of like this Excel smackdown kind of thing. So it was very male dominated. So not many women were involved. It was really exciting though, and the winners would fly to New York or London or something like that. And I was always like, complaining about why are there no women in the finals and all this sort of stuff. And then Modeloff was retired recently, and a new financial modeling World Cup championship was launched last year. And I thought, great, be something different. But then of course, different guys, and they're all lovely. Like they're, just really fantastic guys that are doing this, but it's all guys. And so they launched it. And again, like breeds like, and, they're marketing to other blokes. And So of course, the first month there was just, you know, a whole pile of the same people who are really skilled financial modelers. So I got a bit sick of that, of complaining about it. So I recently launched a Women in Financial Modelling meetup group, which has been quite popular.
Awesome.
And so we get together quite regularly, and it's almost like a sort of, you know, a bit of a private encouragement for women to get out there and compete, to be more outspoken, to really get in there and give, you know, to be speakers. And to promote themselves, because we are very good at sort of sitting in the background and turning off our cameras and not sort of talking about things. So the idea of the group is to encourage people, or women, to be more involved and also to compete. And it's and now of the top 30, because there's a round every single month. Of the top 30, 5 of them are women. So it's
that's fantastic. Well done, Danielle. I think it's great. I think it's great that you're trying to bring some, I guess, bring some women into this field and you know, encourage that. And wonderful idea of your meetup group. And the work that you're doing. I've just want to say, because we're streaming live in LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, but I do see some comments, and I've got one here from Kurt Alexander, who just said from LinkedIn, great books and an awesome resource. So it looks like you've got a fan over there. So with your work, and if anybody's interested in going to the meetup or purchase your books or learn more about your books or your training or consultation, what is the best way for them to find you? You know, if you're happy to offer your email address or web address?
Yeah, I can publish those if you like. Probably the easiest way, if you want to, we have the Women in Financial Modelling, but we also have we have general just public meetups which we're actually running one tonight, which is going to be about valuation, best practice in financial modelling. So we have a Ruby Liu, who is a fabulous financial modeler, and she is going to take us through some of her ideas on valuation financial modelling. So it's a place for people to sort of get together and find out more about financial modelling. But the best way to find that is to just Google financial modelling meetup, and I'm sure that you will find that. It's probably the easiest way of finding those.
That's great. And I guess they also can see your profile on LinkedIn here. We'll tag you and the details, so anybody who's interested can also find Danielle there. Plus, she's also one of our VIP members on the Supplier on Elect as well. So you can also go to the Elect platform to find Danielle as one of our amazing members, Supplier members. So thank you, Danielle, for being on the show. And I guess I just also wanted to highlight on Elect that every transaction on the platform, 1% of that goes towards funding gender equality projects. So that's our social impact, and that's what Elect is passionate about. Not only bringing diversity, showcasing supplier diversity in the platform for all of the small businesses and connecting these small business suppliers with corporate and government buyers. We're also trying to create an impact with every transaction on the platform. So on that note, thank you so much,
Sandra. Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad that we got to hear about your story and your amazing work that you're doing. For everyone, this is a weekly lunchtime series. So we'll have another one next Wednesday, 1 o'clock Sydney time. And I can't wait to keep showcasing these amazing business owners who do amazing work. And thank you, Danielle, again for being part of the program.
Thanks, Sandra.